Hello, everybody, and welcome back to episode 23 of Daffy's Roundtable, and our first official Roundtable episode. If you're involved in this hobby even a little bit, then you've definitely heard about my guest today. And as David Letterman would say, my guests today need no introduction. Joining me for this super exciting episode is Adam of Wicken's Wicked Reptiles, Dayyan of Reptiliatus, and Mike of Alpha Reptile and the Jungle Vault. But first, a special thanks to the show's sponsor, Exoterra, for making this episode possible. Exoterra makes quality products for our pet reptiles to make them feel at home. Okay, time to hear about the adventures the boys had in Costa Rica. Hello!
Hello.
Hello, everybody. Thank you guys for coming on, first of all. I'm super excited to do this. So I'll start it off with maybe how this whole thing started. And I think from like listening to or watching you guys' videos and listening to Mike has done a couple of interviews about the Costa Rica trip already. So I'll point it to Dayyan because I believe you were the original, like you started this whole trip. So maybe you want to run down how the trip came to life and the process of that.
Sure. I mean, I can't take very much credit, to be honest, with this one. Essentially, like it really was just that Christian CR Wild sent me a DM on Instagram. And I'll be honest, I mean, I think all of us can attest to getting a lot of DMs, and some of them are all sorts of random offers that seem a bit sketchy, and it's like, okay, this is probably fake or whatever. People trying to hack you these days, that sort of thing. And so for whatever reason, I decided to entertain the request, and I'm so glad I did. It was essentially Christian introducing himself and sharing that he's one of the partners of and founders of CR Wild Expeditions, and he was actually asking to do an interview with me, which I thought was also very interesting to see, kind of learn more about like what I do and like my mission and that sort of thing. So we set that up, and he had a bunch of questions to ask me about like what I do, what my goals are, that sort of thing. Like my opinion on animals and conservation and all these sort of things. And he, I think what he was trying to do is essentially find someone that he felt was like a good fit for their brand. And so after that conversation, we started talking about doing, I guess, a collaborative campaign, and then also like an expedition in Costa Rica. And excuse me, initially I approached a friend of mine, Nadim, who's a freelance videographer and editor and such. And then when the opportunity to grow the group was discussed, I was like, oh, sick. So it doesn't have to just be us two. And so we talked a bit more about it. And then that's when I approached Adam and Mike about seeing if they were interested, make it a fun Canadian Creator Boys expedition. And that's kind of where things got going. We had a few Zoom calls. I still remember the first few. It was interesting. I think our first call, I was like in my car driving home from the vets or something. And
same here.
Trying to like keep in the loop. And I remember by the end of, it was a really great meeting. I'm kind of jumping back and forth here, but nothing's better than having like a trip coordinator or guide pitch the trip and explain everything with clarity, so you know exactly what it is you're going into. And I remember how excited, not to sound like a cheeseball, but like looking at Adam and Mike and myself and all of us were like, man, this is awesome, this is going to be so great. And as soon as that call ended, I was like, this is happening, like we're going, it's going to be a great time. And it's kind of the gist of it. It was the flow of things, the planning, it was very straightforward. In this case, Christian really, like, he planned everything. I mean, we discussed, sorry, I know I'm talking a lot here, but for
no, go ahead. For sure.
One important factor I want to add is through my own discussion with him before Adam and Mike were brought into the picture, we were looking at like a week-long time period. And so our expedition was to kind of cover the most diversity in the country possible in that limited period of time. So if you really think about it, like for 7 days, it was a bit chaotic how much driving we did. I mean, it's a thin country. You can drive from one side to the other very easily within a day or half a day, even less. But we did a lot of driving to get to all the different points. But I think it made for a very rewarding experience. So yeah.
No, that's awesome. And then of course, Adam, Mike. I mean, who would turn down that opportunity, right? So what was it like? First of all, like I don't know whoever wants to take this. What was it like getting that call from Dayyan first, and then from that call, how long till you guys were actually on the plane to Costa Rica?
I want to say, what was it? Like 2 months? It was a couple months. Yeah,
maybe 3.
Yeah,
it was like beginning of September, right? And then so like 2.5 months.
Yeah. So
that's awesome.
I was stoked. I mean, pretty much right away. I was like, what's the general cost? And he told us, and I was like, cool, I'm in.
Yeah, I can only imagine. I don't know how you guys lasted 3 months without killing yourselves. Like that's like hearing the news and going, yeah, you're like, oh yeah. I guess if you did, then you that's true. That's true. Very true. Awesome. Okay. So now you're in Costa Rica. You guys did multiple locations there. So maybe we could start by breaking it down. First of all, you spent 3 days in the Caribbean. So Mike, I was told you were the one with all the names of all the locations. Do you know the name of the place you guys were staying?
Yeah,
or the name of the city or area?
Yep, in the I guess south or the Pacific side? No.
Oh no,
the Caribbean side. Yeah, Caribbean side. Sorry, I blanked there for a moment. It was Securities was where we stayed. I'm not going to say familiar with the area because we stayed at one place, but I had gone in 2019 and we stayed 2 blocks away at the Costa Rican Amphibian Research Center when we went, or when me and another buddy went the first time. So it was kind of familiar. It was really cool seeing that like city again. And obviously we did a lot more herping than this time than I did the first time. But yeah, Secures was where we were in the Caribbean side. Do you want me to just highlight all the places?
If you want to, yeah, for sure. Okay. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, so then we spent, the original plan was to spend 4 nights in the Caribbean, drive down to the South Pacific and spend, I guess, 3 nights there. What we ended up doing was spending 3 nights in the Caribbean, driving to San Ramon, which is right near, actually like the main city airport, that kind of deal, in San Jose. It's pretty close. And then from there, we spent 1 night there. So that's Cloud Forest Biotope. And then we went down to the South Pacific side. And there, I don't actually know. I guess we were in the Osa Peninsula, but I don't remember the name of the actual place we stayed. Do either of you guys?
I can't remember, to be honest.
Yeah. Adam's just
I was like, why would I even know? I'm there. I'm back now. It's good.
I don't know the name of any of those places. Christian, drive, and I will sit here, and then we'll go look for animals. And that was kind of the game plan for me.
No, that's true. And then, okay, so if you were to recommend one of the 3 locations to someone, obviously someone should do all 3. But if you were to recommend one of the 3 locations, which one was the best? Oh, yeah.
Adam, go ahead.
Tough one.
It depends, because it just depends. Like, if you did the exact same trip, then I would say the Caribbean side was the most comfortable to stay at. But in terms of like the coolest stuff to see, I think it was probably the South Pacific, because that's where we got to see the eyelash viper. The night before, we got to see the palm pit viper in the cloud forest. So I think the South Pacific was probably the coolest stuff that we got to see. But even the first night in the Caribbean side, like, hey guys, I hope your flight was good. Let's go herping. Like, that's kind of the way it was. So
right off the bat.
Yeah. Well, and the way it was phrased is, hey, we're going for a walk. What he meant was, we're going to send these crazy people up in this mountain, and then they're going to like try to scare stuff down or whatever, right? Like, or try to point out where stuff was. And then like we have running shoes on and we're trying to like hike. Mike fell on his back. It sounded like a tree falling in the forest. It was wild. And then
turns out they do make noise.
Yeah, they do make noise. Yeah. So
you've solved the day-old question.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, that's what it sounded like. So I thought I was a smart one. So I just kind of like, all right, guys, well, let me know what you see, and I'll come down there if there's anything good. And all the good stuff ended up being like where we were anyway. But it was that was probably the coolest part. Like the first 2 nights was probably on the Caribbean side was probably when we saw the most stuff.
That's awesome. And they were not short hikes, right? They were like 6-7 hours in like
No,
pitch
no.
black darkness. No, okay,
No.
no, okay. I'm
How long was
exaggerating
the
it a little
second
bit.
night though? Because
The second
night
was probably 4 hours. I think
Yeah,
that's
I
fair to
okay.
say.
Yeah, 4.5, probably, maybe
Yeah.
even 5. They were fairly short, all things well, no, they were a good length. I wouldn't call them short
Yeah.
because they certainly weren't short, but
Hmm.
I would say on average we typically head out like there in Costa Rica and like Central America. The sun sets at like 6-ish, like give or take 10-15 minutes, and so you want to be out probably a little bit earlier than that, 4:30, 5 o'clock at the late, or yeah, I guess at the latest. And by that time, then you're getting to where you're going to be herping right around when dusk kind of hits and it's starting to get dark. A lot of times we'd get there and we wouldn't need our headlamps, and then like 15 minutes later, it drops so fast. Like you're like
Yeah.
broad daylight. It's like, oh, cool. And then it's dark.
Especially the canopy between all the trees.
Yeah,
Yeah.
especially when that's considered. So, yeah, they were probably on average like 3 to 5 hours, I would say, at the longest.
And all of the herping experiences happened overnight, or were you guys going out during the day too?
Mostly at night.
Mostly at night.
Mhm.
Okay. Yeah, I
think
assume
it
that's
pretty
when
well,
most of the animals are coming out and all that.
Yeah. But I
Okay,
think
yeah.
almost all of it.
Yeah,
I think
Was
other than
that-
like the dart frogs and stuff. Actually, no, we
Yeah.
still saw dart frogs at night too, but
night,
like
yeah.
the Aratus and stuff we saw during the day.
right.
Yeah, and that wasn't even really like a trip anywhere.
Herping.
We're just
No.
like,
It
yeah,
was on the ground.
walk out and they're on the front yard. You know.
Yeah.
I saw, yeah, and actually when you guys were not just the dart frogs, when you guys were there, I was talking to Dayyan and he sent me the yellow-headed geckos, the gonatodes. Just he was telling me they're everywhere, just like outside, like in your camp, I
Yeah.
believe.
It'd be
which-
like a Knowles in the southern
That's awesome.
states.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's very cool. Okay, so what did you guys think, like humidity and temperature wise? And maybe we'll like skip the cloud forest and come back to that. But like humidity, temperature, like just the habitat environment. What do you guys think the biggest differences were between the Caribbean and the Pacific, if there were any differences?
I thought it was similar, like between the Caribbean and the South Pacific side. Like if you drop me in one or the other, I probably wouldn't have been able to tell. If you drop me in the cloud forest, it's pretty obvious. Like that was very different. And I do
And
all
that's
these
why I
videos
skipped
of these
that one.
top fives about like but like I think like to answer your question, it's a very like they're very similar. They were so similar. But if you I do these videos like top 5. Oh, this is at this elevation, and to me that really never meant anything because I've never been to that elevation anywhere cool. Like in Alberta, yeah, sure, but what do you see up there? Like sheep? Like cool. You know? So
Pine
whatever.
trees, Adam.
If you
Yeah,
see sheep.
Yeah. Oh, it's a marmot. So cool. Yeah. So, but standing there, it was like the most aha. Oh, I get it now moment of my entire life. Like it was like, okay, this is what the difference of elevation actually means. So yeah, I know that's what you didn't want me to go to, but like in terms
No,
of like,
that
yeah, east or west.
that makes more
like,
question than my question. Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
like it was so similar to me.
Mhm.
To me.
And so
anyway.
like species wise, you'd see certain things like at a certain elevation. Once you pass to a different elevation, it's like a completely different group of species.
Yeah.
Is that kind of
It
what you're referring
feels
to?
different. Yeah, it feels different. Like even like so like Mike and Dayyan would be walking around and I can see like it's not cold enough that you can see your breath, but it's like almost I forget what Mike said it was like 90-something% humidity.
It was literally 100% humidity.
Yeah,
most of the
so there you
nights,
go,
yeah.
right? And it felt like cool in comparison, where on the South Pacific side, you're getting eaten by mosquitoes, but I can't not take my shirt off because it was just ridiculous.
Incredible.
It was so like imagine standing next to Niagara Falls. That's what it was like, right? So with the cloud forest, it was kind of cool and like it was just very different. Everything is covered in moss. Not like oh, there's moss on some stuff. Everything is coated in moss. It was like nothing I've ever seen in my entire life. It was a very aha moment.
Like I took temperature and humidity readings as well as UVI readings throughout the whole trip, and I guess like the difference, like Adam was talking about, the South Pacific and the Caribbean were super similar just because we were at similar elevations. And when I say that, I mean days in the like 60s to 70% humidities and like 31 to 35 degrees Celsius in the sun. And then nights basically 100%, like 98%. And it doesn't even drop that much. I think the coldest night we had on any of those was like 26 or 25 degrees. So it's just dense humidity. And like Adam said, you could literally go and you could see like the humidity condensing in your breath as it like floated away.
Wow.
And then the cloud forest, it was again 100% humidity, but
Sure.
like 19 degrees, 18 degrees. So it was almost cold. Like you're walking
Mhm.
around, you're like, oh, this is nice. I mean, you're
The guy was
walking-
wearing a jacket, right? One of the
yeah,
guys
yeah,
was,
that's
like,
true. They
wearing
were
a
both
jacket.
wearing jackets. Yeah.
Yeah.
And you guys all coming from Canada were like, this is not.
Oh yeah.
This is summer.
Yes, sorry. Yeah, yeah.
It was the only place. Sorry,
No, go ahead. No, go ahead.
I was gonna say it was the only place I wasn't sweating to death. It's like just go on the whole hike and just kind of feel like content.
Yeah, no, 100% makes sense. I frequently visit like the UAE, Abu Dhabi, and Dubai, and those places.
Oh yeah,
And when I go there, I usually go in like December, January. So to them, it's like 25 degrees and everyone's in jackets, whatever. And I'm like, tank top, where's the beach? You know, let's go. Yeah.
yeah.
No, so that definitely makes sense. All right, so in the Caribbean then, and then I guess we'll slowly walk through it. If each of you could pick like a couple of highlight species, and maybe we'll go with from like Dayyan, Mike, Adam.
Mm.
If they're like highlight species in the Caribbean that you maybe want to point out.
Sure. Like I'll say two or no, I'll say one. So there's something
Take
left for these
2,
guys.
3, whatever. Oh yeah, okay, yes, yeah, sure, go ahead.
I didn't even know these were within that range, but the yellow spotted night lizards for me were super cool. Those are really cool animals to come across. And the way we did was just because on the ground, someone, like I guess the gardeners have these piles of wood, just like driftwood, and then, you know, cleaning up the, I guess you could say the landscaping waste and like leaves and sticks. And someone decided to lift some, actually like systematically looking for them while we were paying attention to, I think we were filming a dart frog. And then they're like, hey guys, come look over here. And like they just showed them to us. I was like, wait, what? Like these are here? I didn't even, I've never actually seen one in person. I've only ever seen them posted on Facebook and different hobbyists that are keeping them. And it's interesting to learn about how like they're parthenogenic and I think live bearing too, if I'm not mistaken. Yes.
I don't know. Yeah,
I think so.
I'm just
Yeah,
not sure.
I'm pretty sure they're
I'm
live
pretty sure
bearing
they
as
are.
well.
Yeah.
And it's just like a very interesting looking animal, that big, like bulky head. Just like they're just all over the place in the wood pile. So it was really cool to see those.
There was multiple of them.
Yeah, we saw like a
Okay.
few tiny ones on our second night. Mike actually found one in the jungle on the hike, like a
Mhm.
tiny little one.
Yeah. a little bit.
Kind of like through the leaf litter, I think, or
Yep.
like around.
That's
Yeah,
I think
but
it was
the-
after Adam slipped and he like dislodged it, and I was sitting right there. I started to run away, and I was like, "Oh, there he goes."
Thanks to
Something moved.
Adam, we saw another one.
Yeah. No, that makes sense.
Yeah, that was a very cool species to see.
I have to agree. Like, I mean, obviously everything you guys saw was incredible, but one of the like highlights for me watching you guys' videos was definitely that species as well.
Mm-hmm.
Like, any
Um,
different species, or would it be the same one for you as well?
No, that wasn't my highlight. I would say probably the hognose pit viper.
Mm.
Was up there for me. I don't want to like crush Adam's, I guess, choice here, but also the Cruzio Hilo was pretty insane. That was, I really enjoyed it. Hopefully that didn't take Adam's thunder, but
I think I know. Okay, no, go ahead. Yeah.
yeah, go ahead, Adam. Yours is.
Let's
What do
see.
you think
let's
it's
see.
going to be? You see
I
what's
feel
out
like
there.
it's gonna be like like one of the Ferdlands or the what do you see on the last night?
The plume basilisk.
Yeah, that's the one.
Like
Right.
obviously.
Okay, I was completely off then.
That
Okay.
thing was insane.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like dragon.
I thought it was it was great. And like the thing is too, there was no pressure to like handle it because you can't handle anything there. So it was cool just to like look at it and not have to worry about like those things will take pieces of you if they want to. So it was cool to just be like, okay, I can't touch this thing anyway. Just kind of sit back and look at it. And yeah, it was crazy. I'd never seen anything like that in that close in person. It was such a healthy looking animal and so freaking big. Like I had no idea they got that big. So yeah, it was like a dragon. That's what it seemed like to me.
Yeah, it's crazy. I've seen the ones from the Philippines that come out like purple, and I knew they were like really, really big, but I had no idea that there was any others around the world that got to that same size. So I again agreed with all three choices, or all four choices, I guess. Incredible species, and I'm gonna add one to it: the helmeted iguana.
That was
what was
South
it?
Pacific.
It was okay. Sorry. We'll get to that then. Well, that was probably I've seen that was my bad.
No.
Also,
I'm just saying.
You know another
it's good
cool
to
one
know.
too, like that. What was it? A ridge-headed salamander, the Diploglossus.
Oh
Yes.
yeah, and like Mike actually got
Beetlejuice.
video of it
Eating the ants.
eating.
Eating
Yeah,
the
like
ant, yeah.
Yeah.
so that was a pretty cool one too, because like I never even heard of that species before, but a salamander that eats kind of like a chameleon, like to me that's pretty freaking cool, you know?
Oh,
That was a highlight of me
too.
dying on the side of that mountain.
Yeah.
The only reason why I saw it was because I was literally like wheezing over myself and looking down. I was like, hey, look at that.
I can die in a minute. Let me see the salamander first.
Yeah. Yeah. It's
Oh,
like,
it's
okay,
awesome.
you're gonna get this.
Yeah.
And it was like, or it seemed to be, at least in the video, like not near the ground, like somewhat up on a tree somewhere.
Yep. Yeah, it was
Yeah.
foot and a half off the ground, something like that. It wasn't
Few
wasn't
feet
like
off the-
high, but it was, I mean, when you think of salamanders, you think of a terrestrial creature, not something climbing
Yeah.
up the side of a tree.
You think of under a log or like underneath it. Or, yeah, 100%. No, that's
Yeah.
very interesting. Cool. So besides that, maybe I don't know if we want to go for the mishaps as they happened through the different places, or if we'll just do a whole section for mishap. What do you guys think?
It's up to
Because
you.
I know that I know that as it happened. Okay, so I know that one event did happen, or maybe probably multiple happened in the Caribbean side. So Mike, if you want to take this one.
Well, as you already heard, I'm going down to see one of the like false coral snake was basically what we were told it was called. I slipped and just busted my ass on the tree trunk, so that was fun. And then shortly after that, I got stung in the neck by a bullet ant. So that was also a solid
Fun.
like 3.5 out of 10 experience.
Yeah. And Adam, you narrowly missed it, right?
Yep.
Yeah,
Like,
it was
you were
crawling in
also
my
on-
beard. Yeah, like, and like it was like bang bang too. Like it was just crawling on my face. And I felt something, and I just it felt like hard. And then it was like, I don't know, 10 minutes later, and then it had to be the same one.
It had
And
to
then
be.
Mike's like, yeah, because Dayyan's talking about tree frogs, and then you hear Mike, and it's like, well, that could be one thing, really. Either that, or you got bit by something worse. But I'm glad it was just a bullet ant.
Just a bullet ant.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean,
I'm glad it
keep
wasn't a
or Costa
fertilizer.
Rica.
Yeah.
Yeah.
keep in mind where we were standing too. It was, I don't know if it was raining or if it was just runoff water from before, but we were pretty much like on a little island within the gravel dirt road, or dirt road, not gravel. So like this ant, we found it in that space. So I mean, we maybe weren't doing the smartest thing staying in that space with it, but it was like marooned with like the water was surrounding that area, and that's where we were standing to film the red-eye tree frog, which was on a large leaf overhanging into the road. So that thing was just like
stream.
looking for a way out of there, and it chose Mike. I guess.
Well, Adam did the smart thing. Adam did the like swipe, like the knock it off. I did the like mosquito where you just like smack it, and that's why it stung me, because I literally hit the back and went like that, and it was.
That makes sense.
Thankfully, it was a queen. It wasn't even a soldier. I found that out after I posted my video. There was like 2 or 3 people that were like, "That was a queen bullet ant." I was like, "Get out of here!"
Yeah.
And then I did some research, and I was like, "Oh, nope, that was a queen bullet ant."
Yeah, someone
So you
commented
guys-
that on my video too. I was like, and they're like, yeah, it's like a former game dream. Like, I wish you could have kept it. I was like, I wasn't into like what?
I'm good. I don't need that getting out of my reptile room. Like,
Yeah.
oh, that makes sense. And you guys are assuming it's it was the same one because you were in that island. There wasn't any really other in the area. So it's
Well, and
kinda
the one
like-
that we filmed was the one that stung me. So that was not a question.
Okay.
Like after when we kind of went down, like I smacked my neck, and then I think Nadim like went in on it and kind of filmed it a little bit, and then we kept track of it and filmed it a little bit more. So that it was the one for sure.
And nobody killed it.
Nope.
Nobody killed
Nobody
Nice.
it.
killed it.
No.
Okay.
And I
So that
graciously ate my banana the next morning.
Right.
So you did end up getting the banana,
I did, yeah.
even though it wasn't done on purpose.
No.
You still took the bite, so you get the banana. I guess yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, no, I saw that, and I'm glad actually that the way you put it in the video, and you left Dayyan kind of explaining, and then suddenly it turns around like what happened. I was rolling on the floor. It was hilarious.
Yeah. I wish I was.
Awesome.
On Mike's expense.
You can be now though. Yeah, on Mike's
It's true.
expense.
It's true.
Yeah.
It was like, honestly, well, the way I put it in the video is like, if you lit a match and held it next to your neck or wherever you got stung for like 4 or 5 hours. So it's not unbearable. You're not like crying the whole way, but every time you take a step, you're like, ow, ow, ow.
Yeah, no, that definitely makes sense. And yeah, honestly, I wouldn't even want to be bearing it for like 4 or 5 hours, like even a match. So I can only imagine.
True.
Yeah. Awesome. So was there any other like any other highlights in the Caribbean side?
Well, Adam had ants in his pants.
True.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
I think that's one story I haven't heard yet, actually.
Oh, it's on
It
the
was in
video.
Yeah,
It is?
I was
Okay.
just standing on a fire ant nest, and then it felt like imagine fire but dull, like the pain level dulled way down.
Sorry,
right?
I completely. Yeah, yes, I remember that. I think
Yeah.
that was when Mike was filming and you were jumping in the background at some point, or
Yeah,
right?
like
Okay,
I didn't
yeah,
even
yeah,
know
yeah.
what was happening, and I just stood there for a while because I'm like, oh, okay, like the sun is like, I just get sunburns from nothing because I'm the color of mayonnaise, right? So I just figured like, I don't know, like the sun's beating on me. So, and then I looked down and there's ants all over my legs. So I just like ripped my shoes off, my socks off, and it was no big deal. I'd rather that happen than in a bullet ant or the thing that we're building to for Dayyan. That seems like that'd be not good.
Yes, and that one happened on the Pacific side, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was our last night or last hike, right?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay.
Our last herping trip.
So
Are we just
stay tuned
rolling
for the
them out
Pacific-
now? Oh, okay.
No, stay tuned for the Pacific side. You gotta leave a little like cliffhanger. Bring them in to hear what happened to Dayyan. All right, so then you guys took the trip to the Cloud Forest. Am I right?
Yep.
How far of a drive was that from the Caribbean side?
Well, how far was the drive for Mike or for us that were in the back seat? Because I feel like it's a very different trip.
I also heard you were in the middle, so it would have been even worse for you.
Well, we figured it out by the end. 'Cause like the first day, right? Because if you've never met Dayyan, he's a mountain of a human, and Nadim is a pretty big boy too, and I am not. So they put me in the middle, and like those two, like their shoulders could be touching the window and touching each other, and then there's me in the middle. So like I'm like hunched over the first night, and my back is just like it's not good. So then we created. I'll spill the beans on this invention that we made called the bio belt, and
Okay.
so I got to sit back, and then those two, their shoulders would be touching in front of me. So like if we ever got into an accident, I would be able to identify the bodies because they would all be dead, but I would be fine. But yeah, it was pretty uncomfortable for sure. Like it was something that if you go and do that exact same experience, get a bigger vehicle or go with much smaller humans.
That's a strategy.
Either or works. Yeah.
Yeah.
Or
Yeah.
multiple vehicles. Yeah. No, 100%.
Yeah. The pit stops were just come out and stretch and
Yeah.
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 And actually, while we're talking about the pit stops, it seemed like food was really good there as well. Is that true?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I know
Absolutely.
from one thing, you guys chopping up those coconuts and drinking the milk, that itself was like,
Yeah.
I want to go to Syria just to try that. But
The inception of the Pipa Squad.
yes, that. Yeah. So what about so that those were obviously incredible. What about other food? Like, did you guys have any problems getting meals in, or was it all taken care of? Was
No
food
one
good?
got sick, right?
No.
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 Like the food was all like really like normal stuff. Most normal people wouldn't put like spaghetti and plantain on the same plate, but in Costa Rica, I don't know, like the sodas, I think all of us liked them. They were just called soda restaurants or like soda. I don't know. And we ate those like constantly. Like that was like the cheap meal for the first day. Like, let's just get some food into us really quick. And then all of us just wanted to keep going to this because it was like awesome. Like rice,
Oh,
beans, chicken, plantain, like just
Yeah.
regular normal stuff that probably cost next to nothing, but it was awesome, and you didn't feel hungry in 3 hours, so it was awesome.
And it does cost next to nothing. Like,
Yeah.
obviously, it's all in their
They're all
currency.
there, bro, luckily.
But like USD, each meal was like $4 or $5 or something like that. Like, and they weren't like, oh yeah, you get a spoonful of beans and you get a fork full of rice. Like, it was a massive plate sitting on your in front of you, and it's just filled with like Adam said, like you get either chicken or beef. You get I think there's like a little kind of salad on the side.
Mhm.
There's beans, there's plantain, there's basically everything Adam said.
Rice.
Like rice, it's
And then a
very
clump
good.
of
Spaghetti sometimes.
Yeah.
Spaghetti
That's
too.
just so
Yeah.
peculiar.
random.
Yeah,
Carbs
not what I
galore.
was expecting you guys to tell me actually at all. I was expecting it to be more like more, I don't know, tropical, more fruits. I don't even know what I'm thinking. Yeah, okay, cool.
We
Awesome.
ate
So-
a lot of great fruit, though. Sorry to interrupt.
Yeah.
But we had
No,
a
go ahead,
lot
yeah.
of good fruit, especially in actually everywhere. I'm reminding myself, even in the South Pacific, but in the Caribbean, like there was a lot of fresh fruit that we were eating every day, and even fresh fruit juice. I don't remember what that juice was that one day that was so good. But like Caribbean side is like fresh coconuts every morning. Bananas, mangoes. I remember the like incredible mangoes. Like we were getting our fiber in. It was really good stuff.
The sweet limes.
Oh
Remember those, Adam?
yeah, just picked off the trees.
Those are so good.
Oh, you guys were
Oranges,
just picking
but-
stuff off the trees and the bushes and
Yeah,
eating them.
yeah, we were being taken through the grounds to like enjoy. And for those who haven't had the experience, I don't want to exaggerate it too much, but really, you have to remember half the tropical fruit we eat here is picked when it's unripe. And so even if it's given that time to ripen, it's not the same thing as giving it the time to mature on the tree and then picked and enjoyed. So like an actual like fresh banana that's like had the time to ripen on the plant and then been eaten.
That's the
Holy
difference.
moly. It's so different. It's
also different species of bananas. Like, they're not like a conventional banana that you could go to wherever grocery store you shop at. Like, they're not that. They're like small. There's little pink ones that we never ended up trying. It didn't seem like Christian was too fond. Like, he was like, no.
No, he said they taste bad. He said.
Yeah.
He said they were bitter.
Oh, did he? I didn't hear that.
Yeah.
I just, whenever I asked, I just know he was like, no. I was like, oh.
You don't want anything to do with that. No,
But
it's
I
you're
also
right,
don't
and-
want to say that was like a common occurrence, like that you kind of befriend the groundskeepers and stuff and can do that. I'm sure if you asked, you probably could, but just I think that is one of my kind of like tips or whatever when traveling, and something I definitely learned with you guys was just really trying to immerse yourself with the people. We didn't speak the same language. Like Nadim, the videographer, spoke a little bit of broken Spanish, but Adam Down and I, or at least I know Adam and myself, were like,
oh, me
hola.
too.
Like
The only thing I had,
all we knew.
Come
the
on,
only
it's
thing I
not.
the only thing I had going for me is like speaking French, so I could like pick up on random things, but really no, like it was Nadim.
Yeah. And so you just try and communicate with like hand signs or like actions, that kind of deal.
Food.
And food too. and just kind of go with them. Like, while they're collecting your coconuts, go with them and show interest, and they're more likely to kind of immerse you or kind of hand the reins over to you to I guess harvest your own fruits and stuff like that. So
No,
immerse
that makes
yourself
sense.
in the culture.
Was it all the guy? So was it just I think Christian?
Yeah.
I believe I might be pronouncing. Yeah, was it just him that could speak English then? And everyone else
Mostly, yeah.
mostly,
think
yeah.
that's
That was
fair to
good.
say.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah,
Was there
even the
anyone
other
else that could
guy-
speak English?
I mean,
I don't
Norberto,
know.
not much. I don't want
No,
to
not at
discredit
all.
him, but like,
Yeah.
not
Oi!
really. Yeah.
Oi.
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 Yeah.
I mean, it's English. Awesome.
Universal
So actually,
language.
yeah, exactly. Sounds we're just like a bunch of monkeys. So while we're on that topic, before we go back to the cloud forest, do you guys want to maybe we completely missed this in the intro. Do you guys want to maybe talk about CR Wild a little bit and what they do as a company and not just like how you guys got in, like introduced? Maybe
Yeah.
Adam?
Go ahead.
Yeah.
I mean, sure, I can add some things. I know Adam has a nice, smooth way to say it too from his videos.
Oh, okay,
but,
sure. Then yeah.
but
yeah.
like, I mean, yeah, CR Wild, they combine like conservation and I guess ecotourism. And what I really loved about the way Christian goes about his business is they're creating opportunities to preserve wildlife through, I guess, also hiring local folk who live in different communities that know where to find certain animals that essentially tourists or whoever is interested in going on these expeditions would want to find certain animals. So the way that they go about their expeditions is completely catered to what you want to see. So it's not like you're saying like, I mean, I'm sure that's an option too. There's like a generic thing and in different areas, but if you were to go and say like, I want to see as many tarantulas native to Costa Rica as possible, they would plan something for you and be like, okay, well, Megaphobema mesomelas is in higher elevation here, so we're going to make sure we go to the cloud forest and look for them there because they like cooler temperatures for this day, and they'd plan it all out for you based on what you want to see to make that possible. But yeah, as I was kind of saying earlier, is just that we really did see that in the South Pacific, how the individuals, different communities, and especially with the black-headed bushmaster research and everything going on there, like there are a lot of people that in certain communities, they find the animals dangerous, for example, and kill them. And I can't give maybe all the credit to Christian, but certainly some that a lot of those same people have a completely, they're viewing the situation through a different lens, that they're being taught like, so this can actually, sorry, lychees are going on in the background. This can actually be a source of income for me to protect these animals and show them to people. And obviously that's something more sustainable for the animals and themselves. So you can feel so good about investing in this experience because it has such a trickle down effect to help people and animals. And that's like the best way of, I think, going about conservation. It's a twofold moral purpose. You can't have conservation be successful without thinking about humanity as well. So I that's just something I believe in, at least.
I absolutely agree with
yeah,
that.
so-
Definitely, yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's worth saying that like Christian, like Dayyan said, to at least some degree, really taught these now guides, then poachers or hunters even,
Mhm.
the value of an animal and the value of understanding the kind of local land. Like he took, whether they were poachers or hunters, I don't remember, but I guess kind of one and the same. They very much so. He taught them the value of a live snake and the kind of return customers than if he was to capture this black-headed bushmaster, sell it once to somebody in the US or wherever in the world, and now it's gone. So sure, maybe you make $200 on the snake at that point, but over the course of years and years and years and years, like obviously the more you have, the more I guess you understand their kind of natural habits and where you see them frequently. You can take people there and show them that same animal and probably make a decent amount more than that one time, I guess, non-renewable resource, just shipping it off to who knows where.
200 once or 50 a year kind of deal. Like, yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And then, okay, so maybe Adam, since Dayyan said you have a really good feel for it, do you want to hit us with that real quick?
My bad.
Well, no, Dayyan pretty much summed it up. Like
Okay.
the ability on Christian's part to be able to give that sales pitch, like it's not an easy thing to do, to be like, hey, you know what you should do? What you've been doing for the last 15 years, stop doing that and do this instead. So it's pretty incredible that he's been able to, in their poachers is what they are, right? Hunting is legal, poaching is illegal. So
Yeah.
these guys are poachers, right? So what they do is like scummy, like to take animals out of an environment illegally for your own personal gain and no gain to anybody else but besides maybe your family, and then change it around and be like, okay, so here's what we're going to do. You're going to be a much better person, first of all. Second of all, you're going to be able to feed your family better as well, and you're going to be putting this animal in a position to further reproduce and bolster the natural numbers. So it's a pretty incredible sales pitch that he did, and I don't think that we should take any credit away from him because it's pretty wild that he was able to do that. So yeah, I think Dayyan did like a great job of explaining what it was, but I do think it's cool that for our trip anyway, it was like, okay, what do you guys want to do? It wasn't like we have to be here at this time. You have to wake up at this
Right.
time. It was very relaxed. Whatever we want to do. Like, I cannot say enough good things about CR Wild. Like, Christian and the entire crew is amazing.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
interesting in note, adding to what Adam just said there. It kind of reminded me that we weren't necessarily, or we weren't even planning to stay in the cloud forest. That was like impromptu. It was just kind of like, hey, would you guys want to stay one night on our way to the South Pacific in the cloud forest? Like, we literally just stayed there one night and did all that herping and then left the next morning. That was a pretty cool experience. Like, I'm so glad we did that, because that was the most, in my opinion, unique ecosystem we visited. So yeah, it was pretty cool. And he organized all that too. I'm sure it's not that easy to say, okay, like, is this place free? We're gonna stay there. He talked to his friends. You guys want to go herping that night? Come with us. And
that was what I was just gonna say. That was on the fly. Like, that was the first night, or even the second night we were there. He's like, hey, do you guys want to go to the cloud forest? And then made a bunch of calls and figured it all out. And it was like that. We just showed up. We're like, hey, we're here. Let's go look
That's
for
wild.
animals.
Like, how chill he is too. Because if that was me, I'd be like, oh, okay, crap. Like, now I gotta. With him, it's like, yep, okay, no problem. Like, it was just no big deal.
I got
So,
you.
yeah, like, he was he handles himself very well, and like, just a change like that would, I don't know, to me would be like a big deal. For him, it's like, yeah, okay, no problem. I know a guy. Like, it was pretty crazy.
It's always the people who knows a guy. Those are the people.
He knows all the guys, by the way.
All the
He's like,
guys,
every time we stop on the side of the road, he knows everybody. It was crazy.
Yeah. I guess maybe not too big of. Or I guess you guys went all across Costa Rica, so it's not like a small town or something. He knew people everywhere. Huh? That's very cool. And then actually, I believe I heard I maybe heard it on one of Mike's past interviews about Costa Rica, that you guys were also given the option of like, what species are you guys kind of here to see, and they're kind of tailored it to that as well, not just to locations or what you guys want to do.
Yeah, I think that's what kind of Dayyan was alluding to with like the tarantula comment. I know it's more common for them to just do like okay, here's a Caribbean tour, here's a cloud forest tour, here's a South Pacific tour. And then I think kind of the way we did it with the blended, like, what do you guys want to do, is a different like tour in a sense. I'm not entirely sure exactly how that works, but I think one of my friends is actually going down there in a couple weeks, and she's actually doing a night tour with him. So I'm gonna hit her up and be like, hey, so how did it go? What was it like? Like, just to
What
hear
did you find?
that, and like just another perspective on kind of how it ran and what happened with that. Because from our experience, like, 100% would recommend, would definitely and hopefully will go again.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
I really hope to as well.
Yeah, the only difficult thing about that trip being so good is now every other one you ever do is going to be like, oh, this isn't as good as CR Wild.
It set the standard. Yeah, 100%.
It set the bar really high.
Yeah.
I've taken many trips, and I've done plenty of hikes, and I've gone herping like many different places, but never anything compared to what I've seen come out of those videos you guys put out. I've seen them all multiple times, and still like I need to process it again, because honestly, like, just even the views, like you mentioned earlier, Adam, just seeing the moss on the trees, or I saw a couple of clips of like the bromeliads and the bromeliad boa that I can't remember whose video it was in, but just the way it was wrapped around the bromeliads.
Yeah.
Okay, it's a incredible views, incredible sights. Yeah, awesome. Okay, so we're finally at the cloud forest. We already kind of discussed it was cool. It was cooler. It was nice. I personally keep mountain horn dragons, so cloud forests to me are something that's super interesting, and I've always wanted to see one. Of course, other side of the world, but I kind of imagine that they're somewhat similar habitats. So maybe Mike, you mentioned that you were taking UVI readings everywhere you went. Did you take it in the cloud forest as well?
I don't remember, because we were only there for like mostly
you guys were there at
evening.
night.
Like, I think we got there
the next morning if you did.
Yeah, I don't think I did for there. I'm not even gonna like throw a number out there, because I don't recall off the top of my head, and I honestly don't think I did. I did take temperature and humidity, like I said, but not UVI there, because it was literally like we got there at dusk, if not night, and we left at whatever 11 a.m. and it wasn't like we wake up, pack our bags and left. So it wasn't like a relaxed kind of oh yeah, let me just go stroll outside and take UVI reading. It was more of a okay guys, let's go.
No, yeah, that makes sense. But yeah, so it was like still 100% humidity and like cooler weather than the other two places. It's a good
Yeah.
start already for what I was
Noticeably
imagining.
cooler. Like noticeably
yeah.
cooler.
Well, that's yeah. I mean, all the species that come from there, right? They're always telling you like they keep them too hot, they don't do too well, and it didn't really. I mean, it makes sense because of the cloud and the mist, but it also didn't make sense to me that like how are they in a country like Costa Rica but not being like yeah like it's super interesting. Awesome. So were you guys also staying like the place you I guess I don't know if you guys actually ended up doing any sleeping there, but was the place you stayed also up like elevated higher than like normal
Yeah.
yeah okay
Does someone want to, Adam, or I don't know?
Go
Well,
ahead,
I mean,
Adam.
for me, it was so interesting. We got there that first night, and we had just bought soda for dinner, and we got and we arrived where we were staying, and I don't know about you guys, it was such a unusual place. It was so fancy to me. I felt like we were in a Muskoka lodge in the middle of like a cloud forest jungle. There was like these nice leather couches. It was like a glorified cabin with like these funky looking kind of chandeliers that reminded me kind of like of a pub. It was weird how the aesthetic came together.
Okay.
And then there was like I don't know if I just said, I think there was even a fireplace, and then this like it was like iron railing staircase going up in a spiral up to the second floor where we had the beds and a big kitchen and 2 bathrooms. It was a very, very nice place.
I wonder if it was on Airbnb.
I mean, I think it was
It was for some reason I have this stuck in my head, and Adam said like pointed out the value of the fridge. It's like that is an expensive ass fridge. It's like, why do you know that? He's like, trust me, I know. I was like, okay, cool.
I
He's
know
like,
my
yeah, it's like a
fridges.
$5,000 fridge. And I was like, well, that means
really?
it was
Yeah,
insane.
well, because like just earlier that year, like I've renovated a bunch of houses, so I bought a lot of fridges, and that like it's literally a $5,000 fridge. It's the fanciest fridge I've ever seen anywhere,
Yeah.
and it's in this place that doesn't have internet. Like it was very strange. Like to me, what it reminded me of is like imagine a fancy ski chalet and a Muskoka
Yes.
lodge made a baby. That's what it was. So,
Yeah.
and then can we talk about how there's no heated showers in the entire country? What's going on with that, Costa Rica? That's the most ridiculous thing, except
So
for
you guys
that
have-
one place. That
Well,
one
they
place
have-
had a
yeah.
heated, but at all the
Didn't
other
it
places
shock
were
you
like,
if it was heated?
that I don't know. I wasn't tall enough
Well-
to reach it, but Dayyan said it did.
Well, so my understanding is that like I get it, it's hot there I assume most of the year, but like I think everywhere had those shower heads that had the sketchy wires running into them, and I think it just directly uses like coils to heat the water coming through it to make it like lukewarm. But then I mean getting a bit ahead, but the last night the shower head was broken at the Airbnb, and I tried to adjust it, and I like it electrocuted me. Like my whole arm was like cramped up and pins and needles in my hand for like a few hours after that. I was like, okay,
crazy.
cool. So do not touch the shower head.
Do not even shower.
No, we wanted to shower.
Yeah, when Dayyan says like lukewarm, that is benefit of the doubt. It was like cold, like, okay, I'm gonna get in the shower. I'm gonna go straight for the shampoo. Like, well, maybe not for Adam, but you know, for everybody else, it's just like a quick run into the shower, like, and you get out and you're like, okay, done. And you walk outside and you're like, all right, I'm warm again. But the showers there don't last more than 13 seconds. Like you're in and out as fast as you possibly can.
I don't remember it being that bad in the Caribbean side, and it had the same shower head because I filmed it. But yeah, the South Pacific was like that was freezing despite how hot and humid it was there.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was miserable.
The disco lights with the camera.
Oh yeah,
it was like a police disco every night, and it would shine through. Adam would use his. Oh, you go. You tell.
I have like these the light in the background, the orange light, the blue light in the back. So I had those. but it has like you can make it like cop lights or like disco party because there's no light in the bathroom. So and then like it's just separated by a wall. So I'm like, Dayyan, here, and I just put it up, and then we're just having like a disco party in separate showers. It was fun. It was a good
And I'd
time.
play Romeo Santos every night and drive everyone insane.
Yeah, Dayyan has 3 songs on his playlist. 3, and that's it.
Listen, you gotta
400
get into it. You gotta play the Spanish music.
Yeah. Okay.
He
sure.
he Googled Spanish music right before he went, and he was like, all right, this is the only thing I have time to memorize.
Exactly.
That's hilarious. No, okay, that's all like it's all really interesting. I would not expect, like you guys said, like something so fancy to be not even just in Costa Rica, let alone in a cloud forest somewhere up. But I said before, it's probably somebody's Airbnb, and they're probably making pretty good money off.
Well, didn't they say that it was like yes,
birders, so
Yeah.
they pay like
Yeah.
big bucks to stay.
It was
there.
what, sorry?
Oh,
They're
birders.
birders. Like it's a birders lodge. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
right,
yeah,
okay.
That's but they had like granite countertops too.
Yeah,
Like, that was
all
the only
investing
place.
was in the weirdest ways.
Yeah, it was wild.
Yeah.
Gotta keep the binoculars safe overnight. You know, you gotta put them on the ground.
Yeah.
And then they had all
Awesome.
those hedges of I don't even know what plant it was, but all the hummingbirds would be there in the
Oh, yeah.
morning. Like there's
Like
so
guava.
many hummingbirds.
That's
What was it? Oh yeah, the guava trees too, but
Yeah.
some kind of
That's-
flowering bush.
I think he told us, but I don't remember.
I don't either. And then they cut it all down that last day while we were there.
Yeah.
The gardener.
Yeah.
They gave it a huge trimming. It was crazy.
Like, you don't like the hummingbirds? I'll take care of it for you.
You like the hummingbirds? We'll make them go away.
Yeah.
You took enough photos.
Yeah. That's hilarious. Okay. So same question as the Caribbean. Maybe same order as well. Dayyan, Mike, Adam. Highlight species. I know you guys, I heard, I don't know where I heard this as well, but you guys didn't find as many species in the cloud
No.
forest as you did other places. Were there still highlight species or favorite species there?
I feel like there's one.
Yeah,
and
like
Dan's
the
gonna say it.
Bucktrachus.
Instead of one for all three?
Bucktrachus
Okay.
lateralis, the
Palm pit viper.
palm pit viper. Yeah,
Yeah,
for
okay.
sure.
Okay.
That was
Yeah.
an incredible species. That was super cool.
Those,
Yeah, that was kind of like the only thing that we saw really of any interest, right? Like, was there really
Yeah.
anything? We saw
I
those
mean-
cool owls, but I don't even.
Yeah, and
know.
then there was, I don't know what it was. Did we think it was what are those things called?
Wow.
Why am I forgetting? What did we see on the first night with the monkey thing that's not a monkey that looks like
Kinkajou.
Yeah.
Oh, King.
Maybe we thought they were kinkajous. Remember I flashed my headlamp
Yeah.
like up and there are these things looking down at us, a pair of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's pretty creepy.
Yeah, they were,
You can only
but they
imagine
were-
you're always being
yeah.
watched in Costa Rica.
Yeah, it was definitely different. There were a few frogs we saw.
There
on
wasn't.
on that hike though.
much.
At the start, there was like 1 or 2 frogs at least, and one of them I thought was even, not to say that it's literally a new species, I don't think, but they couldn't identify. what it
Oh
is.
yeah, I think that was a Boana that we found.
Okay, there's
Yeah.
something funky. Oh, there go
Yeah.
my lights. Welcome to the reptile room at dusk. But
All the
yeah,
lights just turn off. Yeah.
yeah, but definitely like what Adam said, it was super different. Like the man, I look crazy right now. I need to pick up my. I need
Let's
to
just
figure
turn it down.
It was all okay. There we go. No, it's still bad. That's okay. That's okay. I'm a ghost for the rest of the podcast.
That's it.
Yeah, like it was definitely, that was one of the aspects I found very different. It was great for the people who love plants, so I guess all of us, but less for the animals, I suppose. Lots of insects. I remember that.
We hugged
Yeah.
a tree.
Well, it
that
was
pretty
weird
cool.
because
You
we
hugged
did
a
hug
tree?
Yeah, big
Mhm.
tree.
You hugged
Check my
that.
Instagram.
Awesome. Yeah. Yeah. Why not? Why not hug a tree?
Well, I mean, there was something to it. There was like a whole very long story about it having. Correct me if I'm wrong. Was it like medicinal or like
Like healing powers.
healing
or-
powers?
Oh,
And
okay.
people from around the world, in fact, even wanted to like collect seeds and bring them back to various countries. And
Do you
I
guys
don't know.
remember
It was
what species
interesting.
of tree? Or
no,
Not
but
really, no?
we,
Okay.
I think some of us, I know I recorded the whole thing.
It's like 15-minute spiel
Yeah, it was a
in 2 different
long-
languages where they're just
Oh,
sitting
about-
waiting
yeah.
at this tree for like half
Yeah.
an hour. It's like, okay.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, but it was all in Spanish too. 'Cause
Yeah, I don't
nobody.
know why
And there's just
recorded-
Christian, like, yeah, I'll be able to. And then Christian's thing was 5 minutes, and it's like, okay,
Yeah.
what else did he say?
Yeah.
But the gist that I got from it was like you hug the tree, and then you ask for something, and then in return you have to like make a promise to better the environment in some way.
Mm,
Like that's what the gist of it from what I got anyway. So
mhm,
anyway, we all hugged the tree. It was a really big tree.
mhm.
It's a really big tree. Yes, well, so it sounded like something like the Fountain of Youth stories or whatnot, something like that.
Yeah.
Like finding okay, very interesting, very interesting, awesome. So I guess not any mishaps happen while in the cloud forest. I guess it maybe was a little slippier, more falls. Any funny stories?
I don't think
to cover
anyone
on that
fell.
No.
No.
Oh wow. Okay.
But that trail wasn't. I mean, it was like man-made, but I mean, there was still. I think there was some uneven ground at times, but it was pretty safe. There were even like railings and stuff going
was
down
a-
the zigzaggy trails.
It was a garden. Like it was like a established like garden.
Yeah.
Conservation
am
park
I-
kind of thing.
No, not like that
Not-
high level. Like it was somebody just turned like their yard essentially, like a big lot of land into like a natural garden type deal where like people don't come in and take stuff, and they make these trails for people to come look at nature essentially. That's what
Yeah,
I
it was
gathered.
like
at least.
like if you went to a provincial park and you see like there's a plaque at the beginning and it shows you like the trail, like a trail map. It's kind of like
That's what I was
in my
thinking, yeah.
But it was weird because like with the Caribbean, like because we were at the Caribbean first, and like you walk 10 feet and then there's always something. Like there's always a frog, there's always something, and then in the cloud forest there was just not. And then Nadim and I, like we all went back to the lodge, and then Nadim's like, I think I'm gonna stay, and I'm like, oh, we can do that. Peace out, guys. Have a good time. And then I just went to sleep because it's like I'm good.
Exhausted,
Like,
yeah.
we saw
It was
I
late,
walked around
too.
for an hour. Yeah, it was
Yeah.
late, and I
It
just
was at
walked around
least
for an hour.
11.
High elevation, and I'm like, yeah, peace out, boys. Hope you find some cool stuff.
So Mike and Dayyan, you guys went out alone at that point.
Yeah, we fought a tapir with our bare hands.
Yeah.
We
We
won
did-
too.
Yeah.
and you guys are still standing here, right? So you must have won.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Nobody's seen
Is that what
picture
that
yet,
meat
though.
was in the sausage that none of us could figure out? The next
Yes!
That is the weirdest tasting. Oh,
Oh.
really?
Oh, there's Adam's lights.
That is still the weirdest
That is
tasting
terrifying.
meat that yeah, isn't it though? Oh, how do I?
Adam's in that room, and
he,
I'm
he just
the
went into
glowing
Lucifer
man.
mode. Yeah. That's funny. Actually, Adam, that's a very good point that you just brought up. That was actually one of my one of the main things I wanted to ask you guys. When I go herping here, I'll find. I mean, obviously, I'm in Canada too, so I mean, you guys know how it is. But I'll maybe find one species every 3 months. You know, if I'm lucky. Was it also obviously not once every 3 months? But you guys seemed from the videos to be like spotting species every like 2 seconds. Was it really like that, or were within the span of the 4 hours maybe like I guess Adam already touched on it, but it was almost consistent, right?
It was a huge thanks to the eyes and ears of our guides. We,
Okay.
the collective, the three of us, maybe found a handful of animals, total, the whole time.
Okay.
But the
Yeah.
guides were like, "Oh yeah, you see that eye shine like 30 meters that way? Yep, that is actually a fertilance." We're like, "Get out of here!" And sure enough, we walk up to it and it's fertilance. Like, it's
That's
insane the
awesome.
stuff that they see. But
And-
it was like, I mean, the diversity is just so much higher than Canada, right? Like,
For sure.
and also knowing where to look, that kind of stuff. Like, there is really kind of a practice to herping. Like, you
For sure.
you start to pick out like little differences in the leaf pattern or like in the buttress of trees and stuff. You look there really attentively and you pick up on movements super fast. I mean, at least I did. I don't know about the other guys, but like you really are keen to movement. Like a little cockroach scutters and you're like, "What's that?" And then you're disappointed. But
Yeah.
Just a cockroach.
Well,
Yeah.
even like Miguel, he's been like herping for what, like 40 years or more. I don't remember how long it was. And so he himself.
And that was one of your guides. Sorry.
Yeah.
yeah. Oh yeah,
You
yeah,
guys
yeah.
want-
Okay.
yeah,
Noberto's dad, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He, and I mean, he like, he's hardcore. He even had like, he'd been bitten by Bushmaster, right?
Oh,
Or was it a
Bushmaster.
fertile?
Yeah.
I think it was a
Bushmaster.
Bushmaster, and he had
Yeah.
like one of his hands kind of like he had to have like a surgery to like he kind of kept his arm tucked in a bit, but it didn't stop him. Like he was like super fit and agile. Like, you know, like
That's
some of
crazy.
those excursions were sure maybe not like deathly exhausting, like for sure hard, but like you turn around and he's just kind of like, oh, no, like with his flashlight looking around like it's not nobody's business.
Well, he was
Yeah.
agile like a mountain goat, and he was 108, so it was like really impressive. Like, yeah.
Yeah, no, that's
It's
definitely
really
makes sense.
inspiring.
He floated
Yeah.
up the mountainsides just straight up.
Yeah.
With a flashlight.
Pointing a flashlight.
With it in his mouth, just so he can have his hands like this.
Yeah. And sorry, I took my headphones off to go turn the light on, which clearly made no difference. But Mike, I don't know if you mentioned this while I was doing that, but the other thing was that they had mastered the calls for the finding the frogs, which is very interesting. So they had all the whistles down pat. They would help, I guess, like either have a female or another male competing for, you know, the louder caller to attract the females. They were finding a lot of the amphibians we saw by whistling or imitating their calls, which was super interesting too.
Yeah.
That is very
and
cool.
the,
And
the
do you guys
amphibians have. Oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead. True.
I was just gonna say the amphibians also have different color eye shine. Like everything has a slightly different color, and it's difficult. Like I still, if I see the eye shine, it's like probably worse odds than 50-50. But
It's like,
like
is
you
that a
could,
spider?
there's some where you could really tell that the amphibians are typically a bit more red, so you could really tell on a couple of them. You're like, oh, I see it there, and then another amphibian you see, you're like, nope, no idea. No clue.
Yeah.
Mhm.
No, that makes sense. And do you guys think they were using the calls to maybe attract the frogs towards you, or were they just listening and then okay, it's that direction, let's go that
Yeah.
direction? Which one you
That
call
one.
it's yeah, okay. Yeah,
I was just hoping to get a like call and response kind of thing and be like, okay, walk that way. It's somewhere here. Maybe we'll spot it with a flashlight and be able to film the animal if it's not too high or whatever.
That's very, very cool. All right, before we go to the Pacific side, we mentioned amphibians and eye colors. So I'm gonna quickly jump to the red eye tree frogs. You guys saw a lot of them there, I assume, or not? I assume. I
No.
see not a lot. Oh, okay. It
Right?
seemed like from the video you guys saw, or I guess maybe you saw more eggs than you saw the actual frogs.
I think we only saw one clutch of eggs and one red eye.
I think so, yeah.
So-
Right?
Wow.
Yeah, but you
Yeah.
saw it in all 3 videos, right? So probably
That's
Yeah.
That does make sense. Yeah. Okay. I thought it would be like all over the place there, like kind of like.
I think if we were looking for them, we probably would found like, because like they were saying, if you ask them, hey, I want to see red-eyed tree frogs, then I think Miguel is just kind of like does a rain dance and then they just show up. Like, I think that's how it works. But we found everything that we looked for except for the Bushmaster, right? So I think that if we wanted to find more, we would have. But it was the first night, like, oh, and then I was like, okay, I'm good. And I don't think any of us were like, I want to see more of those.
Yeah.
So that's, kind of how that went.
Yeah,
Awesome.
true.
And then, so was the Bushmaster? Were you guys hoping to see it just anywhere, or is there one of the specific locations that it's usually at?
South Pacific is where we looked for it.
Okay, I'm going to wrap up part 1 of this talk now. Make sure you join us next week to hear more hilarious stories and what awesome species they found on the Pacific side. Also, make sure you follow Adam, Dayyan, and Mike. I'll have all of their social media links listed in the show notes below. I am Daffy's Reptiles on all platforms and Daffy's Roundtable for the podcast, and we will see you on the next one.